This one is one, how many years ago did you guys pick this lot up?
2021.
2021. It was a non-legal 3-unit at the time, kind of legally 2, but had a 3rd unit in, and it was not in the greatest shape, underpaying tenants. But this one had zoning that was very favorable and a big lot. So Dan can talk to why you guys picked up this lot and what you guys were doing with it.
Yeah, so we'll just add to that story there. So Anita helped us out pick this one up. So this was on the market for a while. People weren't purchasing it, so we kind of dove into it. So it had zoning PSC-A, which is planned commercial strip, which has a lot of different things that you can do on this type of property. One of them happens to be an apartment building. The owner wasn't aware that they could put an apartment building here, so they thought the best use for this property was actually a legal duplex. So they kept talking about that when we were doing our negotiations. They didn't know what we could actually do with this. So we were able to pick it up at a pretty decent price because of that fact. So that's another reason why we think there's a lot of opportunity in this missing middle right now. There's a lot of people who don't know all these changes that are coming forward. So there is opportunity for information asymmetry between you and your sellers. So you can take advantage of that. We negotiated with the existing tenants to increase the rents. So then this property was cash flow positive. So since it was positive, we didn't have that much incentive to get started right away. We had a number of other properties that we purchased that were vacant, or purchased one where all the tenants weren't paying and we had to get them out and do that one. So we did those ones first, and then we decided to do that this one this year. It was pretty quick to get this approval because it was zoned for an apartment building. We went within the allotted units that we could do on this property. We could easily do 6, so we didn't ask for any additional units. Essentially, it's not exactly just straight for building permit, but pretty close for this one. It actually almost took longer to get the tenants out and then get your demo permit, get your building permit. It actually took to do the planning on this one. Kind of the opportunity that we're seeing with apartment buildings, one of the reasons we brought you here was basically every single municipality is upzoning their downtowns or different areas like that. And a lot of those changes are coming into effect now or very, very shortly. So there's a lot of properties where you can do this like 10 units or less. We don't have to go through site plan control, and we'll be able to bring up these smaller apartment buildings. So we actually have another site in downtown Oshawa where the city is doing all the hard work, where they're rezoning that whole area. And once they're done, we'll be able to do a 16 unit there. And right now it's currently just a duplex. So it's a whole bunch of different properties where this is becoming available and is definitely an interesting strategy. We'll be going to multiplexes. We'll talk about CMHC financing there because it's cold here, so it won't take too long on this property. But the nice thing about properties like this, there are some changes that are coming through with CMHC. If they come or not, you won't have to worry about your financing on these ones. It's pretty straightforward.
And one for this one, and Dan, you're going to correct me if I'm wrong, because I might be wrong, and then my memory might be off. I believe originally you guys talked about severing and doing 2 different smaller buildings here, because this is what we're talking about at the start. To do a 6-plex, like with site plan and all extra charges and all this other stuff, it didn't seem, I believe, as feasible financially for you guys to do that. The city wanted the 6-plex always, but for you guys, from an economics perspective, it didn't make sense. So I think you guys were thinking of like doing 2 triplexes or something along those lines and severing. But with what's come down the pipeline, this now makes a little more sense.
Yeah, if you can work with the city, it's often better for you. Like we each wanted to do the double triplex, and then they threw at us a 5-meter road widening, which made this lot too small to do it. Because technically they can take it for this road, because it's I forget exactly what it's called, but they could take several lanes on each side if they wanted to. And then we switched to a 6-plex, and all of a sudden they didn't need a road widening, and they gave us a minor variance, but the house even closer to the street than what you're allowed. So sometimes if you just go with what they say, it's a lot easier.
Play within their lines, and maybe things are a little bit easier sometimes. And then obviously you guys get more and more experience, and Katrina's got lots of experience too with dealing with the municipality, which makes things a little easier as well. And what do you guys think is your end date goal for this one?
Probably sometime in the summer. Yeah, once they get to this stage, it was pretty slow at the beginning because it was too cold to finish the foundations. But once you kind of get to this stage, it's pretty quick. There's not too much that holds you up. So.
And then you have 6 non-rent controlled units in this building, which is
correct.
the anticipated monthly rent you're?
Around 2,200 is what we're thinking.
So you went straight for a 60.
Yeah.
But zoning allowed, it already had zoning in place that allowed it, yeah.
So what about the development charge?
Development charges per unit. Yeah. Yeah. So it'll be over 200,000 for this one. I don't remember exactly where it ended up. I think it's closer to 300,000 for this. Yeah.
And how long is the building, like from foundation?
Probably about 6 months. The next one we're going to, that's the one we've been primarily working on. We're about 3.5 months on that one, and we have some units that are almost done there, so you can get an idea of how fast you can move once you get going.
So if you're going straight to 6, what about your height? Like, are you okay with 200 amp?
No, you have to get more. They're currently thinking of sending in 200 amp services, but I haven't really heard of them doing that before. So we'll see if they're going to upgrade to something else.
Dan, was there a property on this place when you bought it? There was.
Yeah.
You took it
Yeah.
down.
Yeah, we took it down.
And anyone who missed it at the start, this one, Dan's got one water line coming in, but it will be sub-metered to each of the units so that you can split the bill so that tenants can be responsible for their bills. And they will have fully their own HVAC. So all their utilities will be fully on them, nothing on the landlord.
Dan, question for you. Sorry, I think I missed what you said there. Sorry, the development charges were how much?
I think it ends up being close to 300,000 on this one. Yeah.
And that's because of the amount of units
But you have to pay per unit.
per unit.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think in Oshawa it's 80,000 per 2-bedroom, but then you get credits per unit. So
And there
We'll
is
talk a bit
discount
about credits.
with the region.
Yeah.
There is a bit of a discount with the regional development charges.
Yeah.
They take a percentage, but depending on how many units.
Part of the reason why it's a little bit vague is as well, the region just lost a class action lawsuit against Build for bumping their DCs. They were going to do incremental, and they did it all in 1 year. So they got sued and lost. So they're actually giving us a rebate for all of these units that
So they don't
we're
get sued
building.
again.
Yeah.